This is the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Jamie Meloni.
Happy Monday and welcome once again to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. If you're finding me for the first time on the air, I invite you to tune in every Mondays at noon as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. I myself am a real estate professional with Coldwell Banker, focusing on the Tampa Bay market, and I focus on the sale of bank-owned properties. So I invite you over to my website where you can find all of my listings as well as many of my properties prior to hitting the market at tampabayradio.com. In addition, you will find all of the prior shows of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show via the Show Info tab. And you can also catch the show streamed live also on the Live Stream tab. So again, head over to tampabayradio.com and catch all of my listings as well as all of my pre-listed properties prior to hitting the market. I want to take a moment to introduce my co-host for today's show, the lovely Stella Giudicelli. How are you doing today, Stella?
I'm excellent. How are you, Jamie?
I'm doing great. How was your weekend?
So I'm very happy with my weekend. I have some of my clients who are a lovely couple. She's expecting, and actually she is due in a week or two. And with her in those conditions, we went to look at properties, and we find a very nice property in the St. Petersburg Country Club. There's a golf course there, and the property is very nice because it was a rehab and it was very, very well done. And it's really good when we see, as a real estate agent, we see a rehabber going into homes and not, just going very quickly and trying to sell.
Finding a quality product, something that put care and influence
quality product, and so we were so pleased to see that. It wasn't done cheaply. We could see that they did that with lots of love, let's say, for the people that would buy the house. And so I'm really happy for my clients that that's the house we are under contract right now.
That's very good to hear. It's something I always complain about in the real estate market in the Tampa Bay region is we don't have a high degree of strong real estate investors. There's so many flippers in the Tampa Bay market, people that want to just buy property and flip it. We don't have a strong influx of people that really come into the properties and put the care and diligence into the properties, due in large part because the market just doesn't support that right now. I mean, back in the early 2000s, that was a big, component of the real estate market. But right now, the typical real estate investor, and I'm speaking pretty much under the 150,000 and under market, properties that are priced higher, you tend to get more, involvement in that. But, we just see so many properties that are, in need of renovation. We see a lot of, investment in the Seminole Heights area and the lower price points. People tend to like that. But, that's good to hear, that we find, people out in the market that, put some care into the property before putting them back on the market.
Right. And as a real estate agent, it's so pleasing to put your clients in a house like that. That is absolutely perfection. So we're going to have the inspection, but I'm not worried whatsoever. And what I like too is that they had a sign in the front yard saying rehabbing or improving your neighborhood one house at a time. I mean, you could see that they have a mission as well for the community, and I just really enjoyed this weekend for that reason.
That's nice. If there's any real estate investors that are listening to me on the radio right now, please get in touch with me. I got a lot of great project homes, and I'd love to find that right investor out there that really wants to work with a real estate professional in getting these homes bought, fixed up, and then put back onto the market for a profit. I got a great network of contractors that can assist you, and so yeah, it's something the real estate market is lacking. Is the fix and a repair model. And getting them back on the market, because so many of these homes that I sell, they need renovation and stuff. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I focus on the sale of bank-owned properties. And interestingly enough, you never know what you're going to find in one of these properties as well. Just last week, I get a call from the field service company for one of my VA-owned assets, the Department of Veteran Affairs. And he's like, we're going to have a little bit of delay on getting the property cleaned out for you and ready for market. I was like, wow, what's wrong? He said, well, we found a bomb in it. I was like, what, you found a bomb? What do you mean you found a bomb? He's like, no, we found a bomb in the property. We had to call the police, and now the whole street is shut down, and we can't go back to the property. And so come to find out, in the shed of the property was a box with a bunch of bottles and liquids and wires all strewn throughout them, and the bomb squad came onto the site. And they shut down the street, and it was a legitimate bomb. And who knows how it got placed there. The property was vacated upon assignment to me. And per the sheriff's department, the bomb squad, it was a pretty powerful bomb and could have taken out the entire street. So now the property is under investigation.
Right.
Obviously, I have no input on how it got there. I don't know if it was there when I got the property. I briefly walked through it prior to, the field services company going over to the property to clean it up and get it ready for market. Could have just been local, criminal putting it there to hide it, knowing that the property was vacant. But you never know. I've got stories like that.
You do have them.
Yeah, it's like, you watch these real estate shows on television, the luxury shows, the fix and flip shows, and I always say, the real estate, the REO business would make such a great reality show because we get situations like this all the time. I don't know if you caught in the news last week, a person who bought a foreclosed property in Cape Coral. He bought it at the auction, and when he went into the property, he found a corpse, a dead person that had been in the property for 2 years. And unbeknownst to him or anybody else, the body was just there and nobody had reported it. And that was not a real estate agent. He was an investor who bought the property at the auction. And it's hard to say how something like that happens. It's unfortunate that nobody, came in and checked up on the person. And, interestingly enough, that should have been caught, I would think, by the mortgagee, the bank, because when a person quits making their payments, they begin to do regular inspections on the property to investigate if there's any activity there. But the person could have had their mortgage payment on auto draft or something. But then again, no, that wouldn't be. I take that back because the property ended up going to foreclosure.
Yeah, right.
So that wouldn't have been the case. So, and interestingly enough, a couple years ago, we had a dead body in one of our houses that our contractor found. It was a suicide victim, and the property was getting no activity on it upon assignment to us. Week went by. We sent our contractor over to the property to have it secured, which is, the first part of the process after the property is vacated, to have it rekeyed. And then upon entering the property and walking through it, she found the person in the back, with a bag around their head and a note, and they had committed suicide. So unfortunate situation there. And we had to involve local hazmat people to come in whenever you have a passing inside a home. It's not a traditional cleanup. It was quite the process to clean the property and get it ready for market. Had a friend down in Miami who has one of the things we have to do for the banks, we have to have them regularly inspected by property inspectors, just to check for any leaks or vandalism. And his inspector walked into a home and ran into a couple people involved in the drug business and got shot, and he luckily wasn't killed. I think it hit him in the leg or something, and they fled. But it's something, walking in and out of these vacant homes, especially in poor quality neighborhoods, it's unfortunate, that happened. And I myself, we've ran into many grow houses, marijuana grow houses. Those are always interesting to run into because they completely redo the houses. You got duct work and piping going all throughout the house. It's obvious that the home is turned into a factory for marijuana production. You'll see lighting, and then you'll see remnants of the marijuana, because whenever the FBI goes in and they clean those things out, they're pretty rough about it, and they don't exactly go through and clean the place nicely. So you'll find pieces of marijuana and things laying around. I took a friend in at one time. He picked up all the little marijuana pieces he could and tried to smoke it and stuff. So it was kind of interesting. So, and I haven't ran into another thing with some of my fellow agents that run into meth labs. That's bigger in Polk County. I've not run into a meth lab yet, but whenever we have those situations, we get involved in quite the cleanup process, and it's makes for an interesting career choice in real estate. I always tell people I'm not a traditional real estate agent for these reasons. We're more of property managers. I've ran into countless homeless people inside these properties. I remember a couple years ago also walking into a home and finding about 3 or 4 kids in there smoking pot. And, just, they're like, oh, it's like, what are y'all doing? I was like, listen, get out of here. It's like you're not going to call the cops. It's like, just leave. And so, and also remember a few years ago finding a property that had been completely abandoned and, as if they had never left. The property looked as if somebody was living there, and it turned out the gentleman had moved up to Atlanta, and he had left his daughter in charge of the property to pay attention to what was going on. So nobody responded, didn't respond to any of the eviction notices or any of the things that we told them, and so come, the eviction came and all the stuff got moved out of the property. I'm talking about everything. It was as if somebody was living there, and we came across the ashes of one of their dead relatives in the properties. And I ended up keeping that. I didn't want that to be thrown away, and because I figured, eventually he's going to get word that all his stuff just got thrown out. And, come to find out about 30 days later, I did get a call from him, told him what happened. He's like, yeah, my daughter was supposed to be paying attention to the home, and she wasn't. And I was like, well, I did keep the ashes of your relative. And he goes, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I told him, I said, you want to come pick it up? You know, we can arrange to meet. He never did come and pick it up. So I had these in my house for like, 6 months. You know, I was like, I don't want to throw these things away. And finally, he never did. And I lost contact with him. So I finally had to dispose of them and everything. But these are just some of the interesting things, that go on in the foreclosure business.
A lot of interesting stories in the real estate business, indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, got to take a quick break, but coming back from the break, we're going to be talking with Casey Ellison. He is the founder of EWI Construction, and his company has been in the news a lot lately with local development projects. So please stay tuned, and if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. iMortgage Tampa appreciates and supports all veterans and their families. And as a thank you for your service, they have some unique products specifically for veterans. These programs include 100% cash out loans, renovation loans, and also a VA interest rate reduction loan. Please call them today at 813-523-4908. Again, that's 813-523-4908. Or online, search for iMortgage Tampa. iMortgage NMLS 174457. Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. Programs and eligibility subject to programs and guidelines. In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. I want to go ahead and bring on my first guest, Casey Ellison, who helped create EWI Construction in 2007 to bring high-quality construction services to his customers. Casey's responsibilities include cash flow management, contract execution, and day-to-day management of all his business operations of EWI Construction. Before forming his organization, he worked with Beck for 13 years. His service with Beck included involvement in development, architecture, and construction projects. He has a strong construction and development background combined with knowledge of the design process. Casey, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thank you very much for coming in. So tell us a little bit more about yourself and your company.
We were founded in 2007, really to fill a gap that we felt like the market had, which was a high-quality construction company in that small to mid-level commercial and large residential marketplace, that a company could act like an institution but behave very customer-centric and operate in that smaller marketplace.
Now, your company structure, I mean, how big is it right now? Do you have employees, or do you sub out your work, or how do you work right now?
We currently have 27 employees. Those employees range from superintendents on the job site to marketing professionals in the office. We are a construction manager and a development manager, so therefore we sub 98% of the work out. There are times when, due to scheduling or a hole in the marketplace from a sub-community, that we will take on work, but we try to sub everything out.
Now, what types of projects do you specialize in or work in? Do you do residential? Do you do commercial space, medical space? What are some of the projects that you've been involved in?
We do. Our primary business is high-end residential. We don't do anything speculative, but custom homes. Our average home is probably in the $2.5 to $3 million range. We do quite a bit in the hospitality world, restaurants and in the hotel world.
Yeah, I noticed that your company was involved in the Baycare construction, which is done in the Hyde Park area, correct?
Yes, and that would be the other niche that we fall into. Is we've over the last 5 years done quite a bit of medical office building type projects, clinics and stuff like that.
Very nice. Yeah, I watched that whole thing go because it's right beside our office on Swan. So very nice project. It turned out very nicely as well.
Thank you.
So, and you were also involved with Oxford Exchange, interestingly enough. Everybody seems to like that place. Tell us a little bit more about your involvement with building the Oxford Exchange.
Yeah, I would say Oxford is probably our flagship project to date. We got involved very early with Blake Casper, who's the owner, and James Brearley, who was the owner's rep. And then the architect was out of Atlanta, Smith Dahlia. And Blake had a vision to create a very special place. He wanted to encourage the community and the community leaders to do the same. And he felt like if it was done well, executed, and everything was put together the way that he envisioned it, that it would encourage those types of things to happen.
Yeah, it's a very unique building. If people haven't been there, it's in South Tampa, near the the West End of Kennedy, I think it is.
It's across University of Tampa.
Right by the University of Tampa. There you go. And Stella, you had some involvement in the Oxford Exchange as well, correct?
Yes, actually, a few years ago, he had the idea. Blake had the idea in mind for quite a few years, actually. And I met him at an event of the Children's Cancer Center. And he came to me when he knew I lived in London in the UK. And he said he had a project in mind to replicate, or he was inspired by the Michelin House in London. And so he asked me to meet with his project manager. So I met with James twice and just brainstorming and discussing about, the lifestyle of London and the Michelin House, just to give them ideas to come from. And so it was very interesting. Maybe, I don't know, 5 years after that, 3 years after that, to walk in the Oxford Exchange. And he had the name very early too. He had the name in mind very early. It's a beautiful. It's a piece of art in the midst of Tampa.
It is. If people who haven't been there, it's like a little coffee shop / bookstore / knick-knack store, and then there's a restaurant in there, I think, too, that's connected to it. And part of the thing is outside too. And there's like a dining area that's outside, and it's just a very unique a place. And a lot of people, it's always filled up when I go in there and everything. So get back to Case and everything. I mean, did you have a lot of input on that design or the finishes, or how did that come together?
It was definitely a team effort. We would any decision that was made in the Oxford Exchange went back to the brand statement. Is that true to the brand? Is it the way you would have done it 100 years ago? Was a question that got asked a lot. So, for instance, the marble floors were processed out and cut and laid and everything as if you would have done it 100 years ago. All of the metal surfaces that are bronze, everything is bronze through and through, true to the way you would have done it 100 years ago. The mirrors on the wall are silver gilded mirrors, as if you'd have done it 100 years ago. So we constantly, every time that the team came to a decision point, it was, does it go back to the brand? Does it support what we're trying to do here for them as an overall vision? And then we would move forward. So it was definitely a team process on the design, and then construction, and then procurement of those materials it's not as easy as it used to be 100 years ago to find real materials. Now it's harder to find something real than it is to find something that's faux. Mm-hmm. So, we went, for instance, to Kentucky for the wood floors, and we bought an old bourbon storage warehouse and had the beams and the columns demolished out. We then took it to a mill in Kentucky and had them mill the flooring right there. So the building had been dilapidated and nobody had occupied it since the 50s. But it was all first growth white oak beams and columns. So cut down sometime around the turn of the century, and just stood there and stood the test of time. And you can't get that richness out of today's material, or even really and truly, even today's the trees that the material comes from. We push everything to grow fast now.
Yeah, it's definitely a very unique and beautiful interior as well.
I'd like to know, when you originally purchased the location of Oxford Exchange, what was there? Was it? It was
an abandoned office building that the owner started to renovate sometime in the early 90s. He was going to do it himself, and he never came through on it.
Okay.
So.
And when was the Oxford Exchange opened? How long has it been opened now? When was this completed?
Just over 2 years.
It's been on 2 years. 'Cause I just recently found it in the last year myself. Fortunately, somebody invited me out to a networking event, and I went out there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been even known of that. So people, if that are listening to the show, I highly recommend you go out and see the Oxford Exchange over there by
not
the
only
University
see
of Tampa.
it, experience it and taste it too, because it's really an experience when you go in this place. And then the food is a delicacy, the coffee, teas. It's really an experience from the moment you come in to when you go out of the senses.
And what was the time frame for the project? And how long did it take to kind of get everything put together over there?
It was overall about a 20-month process. The construction process, from the time we got a permit to the opening party at the RNC, was 13 months, which was definitely moving. It was a 7-day-a-week, 10-hour-day job site.
So
sure.
the launch was for the Republican National Convention. That's when it first opened up?
It is, yes. It's a funny story about opening date. My second daughter was born the same day the Oxford Exchange opened.
Oh, wow. That's
so I'll never forget the opening day of the Oxford Exchange.
You were synchronized.
Well, it seems like you're all becoming a fixture in South Tampa development. I see just today that your company was announced as being the developer for the historic Crest Hotel in downtown Tampa as well, correct?
We are on the team, and we're excited about the project. Our partner in Atlanta, HRV Hotel Partners, is more of the developer role. We're more of the kind of implementation role, and we are now moving it through the entitlement process with the city of Tampa.
That's great news. I'm always excited to see about development in the downtown Tampa area, especially with all the news regarding the channel side development. And so that's just came out today. If you haven't seen that, it's in the news today. The historic Crest Hotel is about to be renovated by a number of developers, including EWI Construction. Stay tuned. Coming back from the break, we'll be talking more with Casey Ellison of EWI Construction about some of the other projects they've been involved in. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. We'll be back in a moment, so please stay tuned.
It's tough enough to get a good night's sleep, but it's impossible when you got bed bugs. Goodbye, bed bugs. For 20 years, Earth's Best Natural Pest Management has been knocking down termites, bed bugs, and other pests the natural way. So celebrate their 20 years in business. Earth Best is offering a 20% discount to anyone that calls within the next 20 minutes. Call 800-634-1313 and ask for the famous bed bug free service. That's 800-634-1313.
Each franchise independently owned and operated. Offer good for a limited time. Minimum purchase required. Ask for details.
Hello?
Hi, Stacy. It's your sister. Listen, could you, trade houses with me?
What?
Yeah, trade houses. Saturday night. Jim wants to have his new boss over, and your house is so beautiful with those new drapes from Budget Blinds, and we really want to impress him.
Call Budget Blinds and have your own house done. They're having a big customer appreciation sale. You get a free set of drapery panels when you buy window coverings.
Wow, do they still send a style consultant to the house for free and measure and install the window treatments for you?
Yes, and they have a no questions asked warranty.
Gotta go. I'm calling now.
It's the Budget Blinds Customer Appreciation Sale event. Buy amazing window coverings for your home and get a free set of drapery panels. That's up to a $200 value, absolutely free. Call 1-800-260-9242 now to get a free design consultation and free set of drapery panels. Hurry, sale ends soon. That's 1-800-260-9242. 1-800-260-9242.
Nobody told me what would happen if I advertised on the radio.
I told you.
But I thought you were exaggerating.
Radio is immediate, motivating, and effective. And I actually did catch a fish this big. None of those are exaggerations.
Look, before advertising on the radio, I was just a small car dealership. Now I'm huge. I had to hire more employees. You know how much paperwork that is?
Boo-hoo. If you want results like his, contact us immediately.
Put in keyword advertise at WHNZ.com to find out how you can get to the right customers at the right places.
This report is brought to you by Heritage for the Blind.
Heritage for the Blind reminds you to be kind. Call 1-800-DONATE-CARS today.
Be a star. Donate your car. Call 1-800-446-1234.
From the Bright House Network Traffic Center, the interstates are in good shape at the time. We're problem-free along 275 as you make your way across the Howard Franklin Bridge, up to speed along the Veterans and the Summit Expressways. Watch out for a reported crash northbound along US 19 approaching Hudson Avenue. That reportedly has a left lane blocked. And minor slowdowns in Pinellas County with a wreck along 66th Street at 62nd Avenue North. See a problem on the roadways? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, weather center forecast, sunshine mixed with clouds throughout the afternoon. Highs in the mid to upper 70s. It's up to 77 in Brandon, Tampa at 73, Clearwater 70 degrees, and 74 at Bradenton. Chance of showers today about 10%. That'll be away from the coastlines. There's some over near Orlando to the north and east of Orlando, but nothing in the Bay Area as of yet. Lows tonight in the mid to upper 50s, so see some low 60s along the coastline. Upper 70s, near 80 degrees, and sunshine over the next few days. Markets today, Dow is up 24, Nasdaq gaining 9, S&P Index positive by 4, Dow to 17,598. Impact Radio, 1250 wins.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. Currently talk with Casey Ellison. He is the founder of EWI Construction about some of their development projects here in the Tampa region. And we were just talking with them about the Oxford Exchange, which is a very beautiful restaurant, something I highly recommend that people go visit. It's over by the University of Tampa off of Kennedy. But I want to talk about some of the other projects that you've been involved in as well. You mentioned that you're involved with the Ava restaurant, Joe Madden's restaurant, correct?
That is correct, yes. We're very excited about it.
So what's going to be unique about this restaurant? Is it opened yet?
I think it's 2 weeks from opening.
2 weeks?
That date keeps moving around just a little bit.
No, they're never in stone when you're in the construction business. Those dates, are always off. Where is it located, first of all?
It's located in the first floor of the Post Apartments at the corner of Swan and Howard.
That's right where my office is. I've been watching the Post Apartments go up, which is a huge project right there for the last probably 1 year, 2 years even. I don't even know when they started that thing now, but it's been going on for some time. So this restaurant is going to be on as part of the development as well?
It is. It's actually located directly next door to BurgerFi, which just opened, I think, about 2 weeks ago. And it's the corner there. So it's got a great street presence sitting on the corner. It's going to be a special project.
Anything of uniqueness about that one that you can let out of the bag just yet?
Yeah, that's another project where we went out into the marketplace and found authentic materials. Mm-hmm. The window systems are out of a school in South Alabama that were salvaged, repurposed, and put in place. All the wood was salvaged and repurposed out of West Virginia.
Oh, very nice. That's my home state. Always good to hear West Virginia in a positive aspect, finally. It seems every time I hear West Virginia news, it's something negative, but go ahead.
And then the majority of the finishes actually were made locally in Ybor City and other local markets like that. So light fixtures, any of the steel work, the sliding doors, all made locally by local artisans.
And you're also involved with a hotel in Ybor on the 7th Avenue. That was, I think, in the news just recently as well, too, correct? Elaborate on this project for us.
It is. It's a 180-room hotel at the corner of 15th and 7th in Ybor City. We're very excited about it. We have not announced the flag yet, but it will be a big announcement. It's a flag that Tampa will be better for having it here.
And it's right on 7th Avenue, right there in the heart of Ybor City. And it's always nice to see development in that part of the area as well, too, because I think Ybor and Channelside both have so much more to offer than what we're getting out of them in the Tampa region. So what else, what other projects do you have going on in the South Tampa area? It seems like you're specializing in the Tampa development. Is that correct? Or are you also in other areas?
We've done work in Jacksonville, Ocala, Naples. Our rule of thumb is a 4-hour drive distance. We feel like we can manage that properly and keep our quality where it needs to be. So that's kind of right now how we define our geographic region.
Well, it's definitely a very inspirational there. I mean, you're definitely getting your name out there in the community with some very impressive projects. Oxford Exchange, now the Ava Hotel, Ava Restaurant, Ybor City Hotel. Latest project over here, this Crest Hotel in downtown Tampa and everything. How did you fall into these connections, or is this just by good old-fashioned network and quality of work?
It's network, it's quality of work. I think it's second generation in the construction development business. My father spent his career in the development and construction industry and actually just joined our firm 6 months ago about. Mm-hmm. So that definitely helps. He's done resorts as far away as Cabo San Lucas, all over Southern California, Texas. So there's definitely something to be said for the fact that there's multi-generations in the same business.
And I see your company is not without awards either. I see in 2012 you won the AIA Contractor of the Year award. Tell us a little bit more about this award.
We did. The local AIA chapter awarded us the Contractor of the Year award, which we were extremely proud of. When your peers look at your organization like that, it's very nice, very humbling.
Well, very inspirational, and glad to see such a development going on in the Tampa region and everything with Channelside and now all the projects that you're involved in the area as well.
I was wondering too, it looks like one of your expertise is to create very special places with an experience and reproduce a architecture and a lifestyle from the past. Or how do you hear about where to find this material around the U.S.? Like, you were mentioning how you bought that place, and then how do you happen to know where to find this?
Well, Google's a big resource.
Okay, makes sense.
But it's really just it's focusing in on what you want, and then figuring out how to bring that to life and do it with authenticity. Mm-hmm. So we try not to fake anything. Mm-hmm. We believe if a material's real, that you as a person, there's some form of a connection with real materials and people, and it's a subconscious thing, I think, but it's really amazing how people react to something that's real and not pretending to be something that it's not.
So reacting to still something that is close to nature.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, definitely, looking forward to your future projects and everything. And thank you very much for coming in the studio today and telling us a little bit more about this and everything. So a lot of great information here. So thank you very much, Casey.
Thanks for having me.
And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. We were just talking with Casey Ellison, who's the founder of EWI Construction. I take a moment to invite you over to his website, which is ewiconstruction.com. They've got an interesting website with a comic strip, and they tell their story through a comic. So it's a neat little piece of information over there at ewiconstruction.com. I want to go and bring in my second guest now for this show, regular contributor Bud Spriggs with a mortgage market update. Bud Spriggs is an expert contributor to our show and comes highly recommended. As an experienced loan officer, Bud has the knowledge and expertise you need to explore many financing options that are available to you. Bud is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Bud, welcome to the show.
Thank you. How you doing?
Hey, doing great. How you been pretty busy here in this last week with one of our deals over here. Kind of keeps on going and going.
Yes, it does. It's going to get consummated, though.
Yeah, one of the pleasures of working in the real estate business is the deal that just keeps on going and going and going and going, and we're kind of in the middle of one of those now. But you're a great loan officer, and you've been there every step of the way. And every time we send an inquiry or the title company, you're right there on it.
This is the type of a loan that actually gives the renovation loan a bad name, and it hasn't been that tough of a deal. But you introduced me to the customer back when he first started looking at the property, and he had already been talking to another lender. And I told him this is a unique type of a loan. You want to make sure you go with somebody that's had the experience and can get you from start to finish. And I don't know what they were promising or why he felt the need to continue with them. I guess he had just initiated the loan with them in the beginning. But 3 weeks into the transaction, he called up and said, "Hey, Bud, I want to reintroduce myself to you and get it started." And so a great customer, credit, income, everything looked really good. But again, the renovation loans. So the last part of that whole deal was the contractor. And I called up the contractor and met with him and went over what I was going to need. Hey, we're going to get it to you. Took a while to get the estimate. And the estimate's something that's important because you need to get that estimate of the work to be done before you can order the appraisal. That's something that really can get done in a week if somebody really jumps on it.
That's always a sticking point in renovation loans, is people dilly-dally around with the rehab part of it or the contractors, and they end up delaying the entire process.
Right. And it took a while, but we finally got it. And the next step was stuff I'd been asking for, just like if somebody pulls you over, you need a driver's license. You need your identification, you need your insurance, and possibly some references. And the more I asked for it, the more I started realizing I might be dealing with somebody that wasn't going to be able to supply me with what I need. Because your contractor, this is the type of deal that your contractor's got to get approved. Got to make sure they're strong, they can do the job.
Right.
So at the last minute, that contractor bailed out, and we brought somebody else in that then turned around, gave us an estimate, gave us what we needed in 3 or 4 days, and got it done.
Yeah, and so I preach that all the time on the show is proper, preparation when you're getting a loan. Not only should you get a full loan approval prior to shopping for a home, but if you're involved in a loan that's going to finance the cost of the renovation, which is what we're speaking of here, you want to have a contractor in place and, you vetted them out prior to going, on the, to the seller with your offers. And that's always a delay. And that's what, the renovation loans get their bad reputation from.
Right. I think I've got a guy now. I know I do. And actually, when heading over here, I thought maybe Casey might be my next guy, but I don't think he's going to get involved with the type of stuff.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit too cheaply priced properties. Yeah. We're in the $1 million range. We're in the 100,000 and under range, being in the bank business.
But I did want to give Casey my card before I left because I'm sure he's going to invite everybody to the grand opening that Italian restaurant.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, networking at its best here on the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show.
Paid off.
So, Bud, tell me a little bit more what's going on with interest rates in the mortgage markets right now.
Well, they're saying that rates are going to go up. They've been saying it probably for the last 6 months. I haven't seen it. FHA still down 4% and a little bit lower. Your conventional rates, depending on your credit, which on conventional, a little more flexible depending on the situation.
Right.
And credit scores in the 4s, 4.5 or less. So rates are good.
Yeah. And you're with Movement Mortgage as well. Tell us a little bit more about what Movement Mortgage is and specializes in.
100% of my loans, my pipeline is the purchase business, and that's what we specialize in. Getting an approval out to the customers and the agents within basically a day. My underwriters are on a 6-hour turnaround time, and then getting them cleared to close in 12 days or less. So we don't look at, you tell me your deal is closing on the 30th of the month. My target date is getting that loan clear to close by the 21st, so the package is there in plenty of time, and everybody can relax and go to close and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's what we like, smooth closing, something that can be a little bit of a rocky business in real estate, but, Bud and I have worked together on many deals. He comes highly recommended by the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show, and venture over to his site, budspriggs.com. Again, budspriggs.com. You also find him over at my website, the TampaBayRadio.com site, under the Expert Contributors tab, and I invite you over there as well. So please stay tuned. Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking a little bit more with Bud Spriggs about what's going on in the mortgage market. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ.
iMortgage Tampa appreciates and supports all veterans and their families. And as a thank you for your service, they have some unique products specifically for veterans. These programs include 100% cash-out loans, renovation loans, and also a VA interest rate reduction loan. Please call them today at 813-523-4908. Again, that's 813-523-4908. Or online, search for iMortgage Tampa. iMortgage NMLS 174457. Equal Housing Opportunity Lender. Programs and eligibility subject to programs and guidelines.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Meloni of the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING.
In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 4566. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. We'll currently talk with Bud Spriggs, loan officer and expert contributor to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show, about the mortgage markets and some of the specialty loan products that they have to offer. Bud, you were just mentioning another specific type of loan and option that a buyer needs to be aware of. So elaborate on this for us.
You know, I'm still getting, customers that are putting offers in and somebody's outbidding them. Or I know that the product or the inventory is a little scarce out there, and people are spending a lot of time working with the customers, and who knows how long those customers are going to be around. You might show them the perfect home one day, and the next they're going to find it for sale by own or something like that. So I think every opportunity to find your customer a home is important. And obviously, there's a lot of product out there that needs a little tender love and care. And, I've got a loan where just take a $200,000 purchase price. Let's say you pull up and the home's everything the customer needed. It's in the right school zones, the right square footage, it's the right price. But you walk in, it just needs some cosmetic type of work. There's a loan that purchase price of $200,000. We can automatically include $17,500 worth of improvements to that loan. And the property doesn't have to appraise out any more than the purchase price.
That's interesting to hear. So how is it that a lender is willing to loan on a property that doesn't appraise? I've not heard that one before.
Well, it's going to have to appraise at least to the purchase price. But what a lot of agents are afraid of is if they're going to do cosmetic work, is it going to add any value to the property? And it should, but sometimes it doesn't. So with an FHA 203K loan, automatically, if the property appraises out to $200,000, we'll add 10% to that value, and we'll loan based on that value, as opposed to the $200,000 purchase price, basically giving you roughly $20,000 extra to apply towards the cost of the renovation loan.
Okay, so I'm thinking with a 2 or 3K loan, you've got to have the as-is appraisal and then the after-repaired value, and so you're saying the after-repaired value is not contingent on the cosmetic repairs?
When we do a 2 or 3K loan, we do not do a as-is value. We only go with the after value.
Just the after-repaired value, and
Correct.
You can get up to 10% and
over and above that. So you buy a property for $200,000, they're going to put kitchens, cabinets, flooring, cost them $17,500. We're going to base that loan on that $200,000 plus that $17,500 up to $220,000. So the property, as long as it appraises out to the purchase price, we can add that money to the loan.
Oh, very nice. And a lot of people aren't aware of this product, and it's something that we see utilized in the banking, the foreclosure business all the time because these properties need work. But a lot of people aren't aware that it doesn't necessarily have to be necessary repairs like a roof.
Totally elective. You've got to have, as an agent, you've got to have vision. You've got to look at this and go, hold on, what if we did this and this and this, and we added it to the loan, not an extra cent out of your pocket. Customers might look at it a different way and go with it.
Yeah. Now, what are some of the other loan products? Do you involved with private lenders, hard money financing through Movement Mortgage, or
not through Movement Mortgage? I mean, I've been in the business 26 years over in Tampa, Pinellas. So, the other day somebody called me up and they definitely needed hard money, and I knew where to send them. It's not something that we participate in, but they can always call me for information.
Yeah, hard money. When we say that term, we're talking about private financing. Within traditional lending, to people that are listening out there, lenders have pretty stringent guidelines on what they can lend on in a property. That property has to be habitable, a functional roof, functional plumbing and electrical systems. And if you try to get a loan on a property, many of which are in my inventory that need substantial repairs, traditional lenders are going to turn you down. So the solution to that is to find private financing, typically referred to as hard money. And that was a big business, 2008 and 2009. There were a lot of guys out there looking to lend their money, and it came with high interest rates and high down payments, but it was a solution and it provided a lot of liquidity to the market. These days, I only know of a couple private lenders out there.
Right. Well, your institutional hard equity lenders, they are now subject to income qualification. They can disregard credit and all that, but they're going to go low loan to value. They at least now have to make sure that you can afford the payment.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing this in 2008 and 2009, there was probably about 4 or 5 hard money lenders, and these are just local private guys. These weren't even, institutional or national based lenders, and they were on all these deals. But these days, if you ask me for hard money lender contacts, I mean, yeah, there's a couple of national institutions that I can think of, but as far as the local private guys, there's just not a lot of that out there right now.
Well, there's still there's a outfit in South Tampa. But, what they're looking at if we take this property back, what are we going to be able to get for it? And that's what they base the loan on.
Yeah, and I think their interest rates usually range from 14 to 16%.
My guy's in the 9.5% to 10.5% range, but there's some points up front. But it's a means to an end if you need it done.
Right, and points being prepaid interest, so you're essentially buying down an interest rate when you pay points and everything.
Right.
So.
And I can only refer you to that customer. I have nothing.
You're not involved, but it's still a great source of information here that you're hearing about on the show to have these different types of financing outlets and something that we need in our market. We don't have a lot of strong lenders, and we need lenders to kind of bring up some of these property values.
There's a new subprime lender out there. They're a wholesale lender though, and they're often the 1 day out of bankruptcy, 1 day out of foreclosure, and it's something that I brought up to the powers that be at Movement, but that deal or those programs are underwritten by that particular lender, and that's almost like us giving the keys to the Maserati, because our whole thing is getting quick turnaround time, and so we've held off. There's other lenders offering the program, but it's really coming from one particular wholesale lender.
Are you noticing a lot of relaxing in lender guidelines right now? We're seeing, at least in some of the news articles that I follow, that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines are starting to relax a little bit. What are you seeing?
Well, over the last few years, mortgage insurance, credit, stuff like that, it's relaxed a little bit. I haven't seen anything as far as the foreclosure timing, the seasoning of foreclosures and short sales. I hope to see that somewhere, but I hear about it, but I haven't seen it in our guidelines. So.
Yeah, something to be aware of if you're buying a property without where the current seller doesn't have, I think for FHA loan, they have to have 90 days chain of title, 90 days of ownership, correct?
Well, those are flip deals there, yeah.
Yeah, and flip deals, and we're talking about you have to own
I'm talking about customers that have just recently come out of a foreclosure or a short sale. There's lenders out there that will do loans for them based on, higher down payment, higher rates.
Gotcha.
Not really a hard money lender, but a subprime lender.
Right. What I was just thinking of there, though, is when you're buying properties from a bank, if the property is a foreclosure or any property, the current seller has to have 90 days ownership of the property before FHA will fund the deal.
Well, unless it's something like in your situation, you've went through the foreclosure process. So I've never had a problem with bank-owned properties, but the flippers is what we have to make sure they've got the seasoning in there.
Yeah, and we've seen a little bit of contradicting news last week. I saw, where we've seen the Fannie Mae HomePath product go away, which was a no appraisal required lending option, which fueled a lot of the property. Fannie Mae has a huge inventory of properties that dot the Tampa landscape as well as across the country. And then I read another article that Fannie Mae is looking to relax some of its lending guidelines or purchase guidelines, I guess I should say, because Fannie Mae is just essentially the large part of the secondary market. They buy mortgages up from lenders to replenish their warehouse line so that they can lend more money back out to the community. But is this something you haven't seen in practice just yet?
Not yet. And that's funny. That HomePath, that kind of coincided with HUD, no longer providing the appraisal in their deals too.
Right. Yeah, that was an interesting change.
So HomePath said no appraisal needed. HUD said we've got the appraisal. We're going to give it to you, and they both kind of did away with that all about the same time.
Yeah, just interestingly enough, just some contradicting news that I've noticed in the marketplace. I don't know, maybe it goes back to a Dodd-Frank regulation. It seems like everything in business goes back to Dodd-Frank and everything, which was a huge law that came into effect in 2010 that is basically flipped the banking industry on its head and introduced all kinds of banking and lending regulations. Compliance and it completely changed, the landscape just on my side, just dealing with the banks and the foreclosures. And I mean, there's all kinds of other facets to the banking industry. Yeah. And I hear from bankers all the time that they start talking about something, Dodd-Frank pops up in the conversation somewhere and everything. So, hey, a lot of great information. Bud, thank you very much for coming on the show. Real quick, tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you.
You can call me at 727-798-3888 or go to budspriggs.com.
Thank you very much, Bud. And again, if you didn't catch his information, you can find him over at my website, tampabayradio.com, under the Expert Contributors tab. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage, a highly recommended loan officer contributor to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And on today's show, we were talking with Casey Ellison, founder of EWI Construction. I invite you over to his website, ewiconstruction.com, a very influential developer here in the Tampa region. And we were just talking again with Bud Spriggs of Movement Mortgage. Visit his website, budspriggs.com. Take a moment to visit my own website over at tampabayradio.com, and you'll find my show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in. I hope everybody has a great week this week, and I want to say a special thank you to all the veterans out this week for Veterans Day tomorrow. So enjoy your day, and I'll see you all here again next Monday at noon on 1250 Wins WHNZ on the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show.
The opinions, viewpoints, and